Hi. I didn't realize I was recording. Like it started immediately. Anyway, about a week ago, me and Corey went and saw the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake.
Yep.
What day was that?
That was
Wednesday?
Yeah, it was last Wednesday.
And we both thought it was a super movie.
Yeah, it was really good. I didn't like all the nudity in it.
Yeah.
I thought there was like kids in there, and I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah. But afterwards, we got a real cool blowjob behind Dillard's.
Real cool. I work at Dillard's.
Okay. Anyway, we thought we'd do this video, tell you what we thought of the remake, because I of course saw the original and then saw the remake, and then he saw the remake and he just now watched the original. So we're gonna do a little compare and contrast here.
Not 30 minutes ago, I watched it.
Yeah, it's fresh on his little mind.
Yeah, and I've got some issues. We're gonna listen to Matt first.
Okay. All right. We're gonna start off with let's start off with the acting.
Yeah. Personally, I thought.
Oh, I thought I was gonna start it.
Well, fuck you. Personally, I thought the acting was a little bit better in the American version, but that could just be because I'm not really used to watching foreign films except for Asian films that, you know, Matt's introduced me to. So I just thought, like, for example, I thought Rooney Mara was a lot better. She looked like she was born to play that role, whereas what's the other girl?
Noomi Rapace.
Yeah, her. Weird names, by the way. I thought she would just kind of. She doesn't seem like she quite fit. Like, it seems like she was kind of forced into the role. Like, she looks like she was trying too hard to look, you know, gothic or alternative, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But that's just my take on it. Man.
Well, with the female roles, I really love Noomi Rapace in that, but again, I saw the original first, so I was really locked into that. So I'll admit, whenever I went to see the remake, you know, of course I gave it a chance because it's David Fincher, but I did have a bit of a chip on my shoulder when it came to it. But still, I liked her performance a lot better. And another thing was, you know, kind of got a thing against Rooney Mara because of the whole Nightmare on Elm Street remake. She was in that.
Yeah.
So anyone who had anything to do with that's kind of on my shit list already. But, you know, I thought she still did a great job, but I still like Noomi's performance way better. The way she did the vulnerability and badassery, the way she balanced it. Whereas I don't think Rooney Mara did it quite as well.
I just think that in the American version, because the way I went into it completely blind, I didn't know the plot, and I didn't know, you know, what was going on.
How are you gonna go to the movies blind? That's stupid.
I didn't know, you know, what was going on beforehand because I hadn't watched the original, I hadn't read the books or anything. So I went in there completely blind, and I just assumed from the trailers that it was just a weird, eccentric girl. I didn't know she was supposed to be like some like badass but also vulnerable type character. I thought she was just supposed to be weird, and I think she pulled off weird way better than, you know, what's her face in the Swedish one.
She was pretty weird.
Yeah, good. Especially the haircut. Oh, and plus, this is shallow, I know, but I really thought Rooney Mara was a lot hotter.
I disagree with that one too.
In the face, I could understand preferring the first girl, but she has weird breasts.
Breast. Oh, I got you. It just didn't seem right to say tits.
Yeah, it didn't.
Breast. I much preferred her breast to hers. They were less pear-shaped.
No, they were more pear-shaped.
Yeah, they were. I don't know, I just thought she was way more attractive.
Pear titties are the best titties.
Son, you heard?
Feel me.
They're like apples, but not.
Anyway.
I describe pears, they're like apples, but not.
I've never been a fan of Daniel Craig either. I thought, not only is he the worst Bond,
I say you go with Pierce Brosnan, the worst Bond.
You can't have a blonde James Bond. Sorry, it just doesn't work.
It's James Blonde.
Yeah. I didn't like him in James Bond. I didn't like him in any movie I've ever seen him in, but I haven't seen him in any of the English movies that he was, you know, famous for in England, obviously.
You need to check out Layer Cake.
I will. So, I love cake. So,
It's got nothing to do with cake.
So, like, I was really expecting to not like his performance at all, but I thought he did a really good job. I much preferred him over the guy from the Swedish one, because mainly I didn't believe, it just wasn't believable, because he is not an attractive guy at all, and it's like, she just randomly wanted to fuck him, and it's like, I don't think so. He looks way older. He's just not attractive to me. You know, I'm a connoisseur of dudes.
I think you're shallow, sir.
Yeah, I said. I mean, it's gonna come off as shallow, but.
I liked Mikael Nyqvist. I liked his performance way more than Daniel Craig. But then again, like I said, I watched it first, so I was more attached to it. So I kind of based Daniel Craig's performance on what I saw there, how he did it, and they were surprisingly similar, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, their acting style was similar, but I just thought his looks were more convincing. Daniel Craig, of course.
Okay, cinematography.
Cinematography, I think the American one has it, hands down.
David Fincher.
Yeah, I mean, it's David Fincher. He really can't do any wrong in terms of cinematography. He's got it.
He's got it. You know.
I didn't mean it. I mean, he's got it like down pat.
He's got it.
Like, he knows his style, and he knows when to tweak it and when to leave it alone, and that's really where it stood out for me, at least.
I do prefer the cinematography in the American, but I wouldn't say it like dwarfs the original or by any means.
No.
The original is still very well shot, but you know, it's kind of one of those things. You know, it wasn't made too long ago, so they kind of took what they had done with the original one, just kind of bumped it up a few notches, really, and it's not really fair if you ask me when you compare the two.
They just made it dirtier and grittier. That's what it seemed like to me. And I honestly think the pacing might have been a little bit better in the American one.
Well, that might have been because you weren't reading subtitles, too.
Yeah, exactly.
So you could get a little more into it.
Because I tried to watch the original one quite a while ago when Matt first watched them, and I just couldn't get into them because, you know, just the subtitles. And normally I prefer to read subtitles, but the fact that it was in another language, like, normally that doesn't bother me, but it really did for some reason. That was a good one.
Yeah. The American one definitely has the best opening titles I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it was really good. It was intense. And there's a lot of symbolism in it too that I didn't notice until I watched it a second time. I watched it again
All
in
the
theaters
technology
with my girlfriend and her family, and I noticed a lot of things that I didn't notice. For example, the cat. I didn't notice before. For some reason, I didn't notice that its legs were broken into a swastika. And then when I realized that, I was like, "That's fucking awesome."
Spoiler alerts.
Yeah.
I guess we should.
The cat dies.
Oh yeah. Oh, I guess that's a nice segue. Let's talk about the differences in story now.
Yeah.
Because there was no cat in the original.
There was no fucking cat.
No fucking cat.
There was no cat to break my heart. I'm a cat person.
There wasn't a cat-tica.
Yeah. Basically, there were some parts that I preferred in the original, and there were some parts that I preferred in the American.
Before we talk about how we felt about it, let's just go ahead and do a list of the differences. Number one, in the American one,
he wasn't connected to the family ever at all.
Yeah.
He had just heard about them before, and he didn't know Harriet or Anita in the American one. So,
whereas in the original, they like babysat him when he was a child. It wasn't a strong connection, but there's a connection still somehow, and that did play into it whenever he was, you know, remembering them. But the next one is his daughter.
Yeah, his daughter didn't play a role at all. She was like in the background in the Christmas party scene at the beginning, and that was just about it in the original. But in the American, she wasn't a major player, but she was the one that figured out that
the biblical
verses in the diary.
I do like that they played up the fact that he was an atheist. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, because, you know, his daughter was studying to be a nun, and he obviously didn't approve of that.
Yeah.
You know, as I wouldn't either, but.
Another one would be the prison sentence isn't anywhere in the remake.
Yeah.
In the original, he's supposed to serve a prison sentence for libel.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is he has 6 months to solve the case before he goes to prison.
Yeah,
but
and in the American one, it took him an entire year to solve it and everything, as well as get his career back and, you know, redeem himself and everything, which...
It's really not that big a deal, but...
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but it is a minor difference.
Pointing at differences. Alright, the biggest thing that I had issue with was that they make more of a romance story between Mikhail and fucking Elizabeth. In the American one, there's a much stronger love story between them, and that wasn't in the original one. I liked it better whenever they weren't, you know, like, lovey-dovey.
I disagree, because I think they were just as emotionally involved in both of the movies. I just think it was more of a subtext in the original. Like, he says they were just fuck buddies, but I mean, she obviously had feelings for her from the conversation with her mom, which I preferred the original in that case, because that wasn't in the American one. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that she really does have feelings for him, especially the kiss when he was in prison. I mean, that sealed the deal for me. That it was pretty
Sealed the deal.
Yeah.
Well, as the series goes on in the original trilogy, it becomes more apparent, and maybe they'll do that with the American remakes, but I thought they played up a little bit more.
Yeah, they definitely played it up more, but I think that's not a difference. They didn't change it at all. I think they just made it more obvious, which is a good segue into my main complaint.
With the remake?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or not with the remake. I liked the remake better for this reason. It gave you more, like, it didn't give you more clues. It just made it let you come to your own conclusion. Like in the original, and I don't know if it's just a difference between countries, you know, cinema-wise, but it just seemed like they didn't let you come to your own conclusions. They just said, okay, this happened, and then twist. Like, it seemed more M. Night Shyamalan-y. What the fuck?
I didn't even take the top off. Now, what would have happened if, like, in the middle of this review, I just taken the bottle?
Start chugging whiskey. Anyway.
Well, let me tell you why you're an asshole.
Anyway, I don't know if that's just a difference between American cinema and Swedish or European cinema or not, but I liked it a lot better because there was no lead up to the whole Anita's actually Harriet in the original. It was just, Anita, you know, they've been saying she's dead this whole time, and then she asked Plague to research it for her, and he was like, oh yeah, she's actually posing as Anita in Australia. Surprise. Yeah, I really didn't like that at all. Although it did make more sense in the reveal that she was Harriet, because in the American, she said she hadn't seen Henrik in 20 years, which meant 20 years after she disappeared, he saw her at least once and didn't realize it was Harriet, and that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Because he knew instantly once she got there. But at the same time, that's kind of like a double-edged sword. So there's that.
Different storytelling methods. I don't think it was really that big of a deal the way they revealed Anita in the original. I think that you know, there wasn't any indication that was going to happen, but I don't want to call it a twist, but that's what it was. And I don't think it was that, you know, big of a deal to where it wasn't like, oh god, that's bad storytelling. That's not how I felt about it.
I mean, I was a little hard. I said it was bad storytelling when we watched it, but it really isn't. It's just, I don't know, it's just not what I'm used to. It's not what I'm comfortable with, but that's because I prefer, you know, good American cinema to good foreign cinema. That's
not what I thought you were gonna say, you know, because I prefer good American cinema to, you know, these fucking
shitty fucking Swede bullshit.
Swede bullshit with their fucking chocolate and clocks.
That's all they do in Sweden.
Or is that Swiss?
Yeah, that's
Swiss Miss. But, oh man, where the fuck was I going? Hell.